If you're wondering why I look like this, don't. Live your own lives. Hello, the interwebs. If you're unlucky enough to have me on Facebook, then you may have noticed that leading up to the election, I've been getting a little bit aggy. For the sake of my health, I need to get my thoughts out into the world so that they're out of my head, and I'm going to try to not get angry. I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to try. I've talked to some Tories recently, and their main concern for not voting Labour seems to be that Jeremy Corbyn is a twat. There's no reasoning behind this. There's never any reasoning behind this or any evidence. It's just that he's a twat because somebody said that he's a twat, so he's a twat. Number one, doesn't matter. You're not voting for him, you're voting for the party and its policies. Number two, if Jeremy Corbyn is a twat, then there is no word in the English language to describe these creatures. The next actual worry is that Jeremy Corbyn is a terrorist sympathiser. So here's a picture of Corbyn with one of his terrorist friends. No, that's not the right picture. That is a picture of Margaret Thatcher with torturer-in-chief, war criminal and true friend, General Pinochet, who the Tories still supported after it was proven he was guilty of war crimes. By the way, let's try again. No, sorry, that's a picture of Boris Johnson with Martin McGuinness, who you may recognise as the person that people lose their shit over because Jeremy Corbyn had a picture with him. Let's find that one. No, that's Theresa May with Martin McGuinness. No, that's May again, unlawfully selling weapons to the Saudis so that they can continue committing war crimes in Yemen. I really need to sort out this folder, sorry, this is really embarrassing. This is the picture I wanted, finally. This is a picture that an unnamed Tory posted of Jeremy Corbyn at an IRA funeral. Except that's not Jeremy Corbyn, that's a man called Jim Gibney. Seriously though, the genuine concern is that Jeremy Corbyn has referred to members of the IRA as friends. Politicians use the word friend a lot. They don't use it in the same term that we do. You may notice if you watch Prime Minister's Question Time, they use friend to be polite, usually, and they use terms like the right honourable and stuff like that. Just again, here's a picture of Margaret Thatcher with her, in her words, her true friend, the devil, or one of them. Anyway, there's also the now infamous picture of Jeremy Corbyn with the wreath, because it's claimed that he was laying a wreath at a memorial site for people who were involved in the 1972 terrorist attack at the Olympic Games, which is again false. He was paying respects to people involved in the 1985 Israeli airstrike. What a twat. Sorry if I'm rushing through this, there's a lot of bullshit to sift through. Here's the footnotes of Jeremy Corbyn's involvement with Ireland. He was against the British rule over Northern Ireland, big whoop, who cares. He voted against the Anglo-Irish agreement because it created more of a border between Northern Ireland and the rest of Ireland, rather than creating a united Republic of Ireland, which was his aim. And the act went through and didn't actually do a lot to prevent violence in Ireland. He voted for the Good Friday Agreement, which ended up being a turning point in ending the Troubles in Ireland. He condemned all violence that happened during the Troubles, but got into hot water because he wouldn't condemn the IRA separately from other parties who may or may not have had a U2 song written about some of the horrible things that they did during the Troubles. He had open communications with the leader of Sinn Féin to work towards a resolution to the armed conflict. Twat. Also, the British government had regular contact with the leader of Sinn Féin as well, but kept it a secret because that's better? Right, that's Ireland covered. On to the Jews. And seeing as how you can't condemn Israel bombing innocent people without immediately being labelled an anti-Semite, I'm going to leave this one to Noam Chomsky, who you may recognise as an achievement in Half-Life 2 or Left 4 Dead 2, or as one of the most cited scholars, philosophers, linguistics, historians, and more importantly, Jews of all time. I can't read the screen properly because I've been staring at a light, so Chomsky said, "The charges of anti-Semitism against Corbyn are without merit, an underhanded contribution to the disgraceful efforts to fend off a threat that a political party might emerge that is led by an admirable and decent human being, a party that is actually committed to the interests and just demands of its popular constituency and the great majority of the population generally." And if you're concerned about the 2010 anti-Semite event, mainstream media spent days accusing Jeremy Corbyn of being an anti-Semite because he hosted an event in 2010 in Parliament. that members of the event accused or compared things that Israel had done to what the Nazis had done. But the speaker at the time was a Jewish Holocaust survivor speaking to a room of predominantly Jews. The smears against Corbyn in general, as well as the smears involving anti-Semitism, rely heavily on misrepresentation, so you can't take any of their claims at their base worth. And I'm leaving it at that. Fuck me, what's next? Oh yeah, how is the Labour Party going to pay for it all? At the time of writing this, 27th of November, roughly 3 in the morning, the Labour manifesto has the backing of over 160 leading economists according to the Financial Times. You may recognise those words as having something to do with money. That's because the people who know what they're talking about were referenced in this study. Just because Gavin down the pub doesn't know how Labour's going to afford it, and Sharon says it's all going to come out of her tax, and because you couldn't be asked to look for the information, doesn't mean it's not there. I don't want to fucking hear this question ever again. And if, Sharon, you're earning less than 80k a year, then you won't notice the tax at all. But Sharon, if by some cruel and strange twist of fate you are earning more than 80k a year, then you won't notice the dent that the tax will make because you're earning over 80,000 fucking pounds a year, Sharon. And if you're that much of a selfish cunt that you can't pay a little bit more towards your pub... No, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting angry. I'm calm. Next! Corbyn is a commie. He's not a commie, he's a socialist. Calling Corbyn a commie is like calling Boris a Hitler, but we know that Boris isn't a Hitler. That's not fair because we know that Trump is the Hitler. Do you know which countries are socialist? Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Amsterdam. Do you know which countries in Europe are the happiest? If you said the countries that I just said, then you win the awards of Duh, Doy and Bedoinkus, and I'm losing my mind here. I think I've covered it all. Do you know what the best bit is? None of this will have made a difference because the people that I've talked to, the people that I respect, no, I still do respect them, have made up their minds. They don't care about any information that's given to them, which means I've wasted about 10 to 15 minutes of your time and my time. Well, and the hour it took to write the script up because my laptop kept crashing, and the however long it takes me to edit it with all the difficult pictures that I have to put in of Tories supporting terrorists. I didn't even touch on really any of the Tory stuff that I wanted to talk about. I'll do that in a different video. Bye!